Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. Quick peek over here at Bitcoin. We're double checking a couple of things. It looks like we have a double top forming here for Bitcoin, trying to retest that 70,000 level. Obviously an instant rejection, but this could be very tentative considering this is a second reattempt within the last 24 to 48 hours. So typically a good sign here in most cases, even though double tops do have a tendency of pulling back. There's a solid chance we could break just as well, depending on a lot of other factors. So we're going to look at that as well. So let's look at liquidation to start and kind of just make sure we're on the right track here and just get some of the big picture. And if you're new to the channel, welcome on board. We got some new community members over to our Discord here recently, so make sure that you read through our signals guide, help understand how the signals work before you take them, and make sure that you obviously understand what goes into this, right? Because just because we took 73% from Caspa and 25% from a Miro short recently doesn't mean it's all sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes it takes a little while for those things to mature, and there's a good little there's some proper risk tolerance that goes into it too. So just some friendly advice there. What we want to talk about here is the daily. This is a monthly look back here for liquidation. It's getting kind of messy. There's a lot of longs and shorts kind of spread out from 55K up to about 76,000. Okay, now you're probably wondering, how the heck are they taking a short at 76,000? Truth is, they're not. These are just liquidation levels that kind of form as a result of people putting in their position. The further the liquidation level is, the lower the leverage in most cases, right? Because they're less likely to get liquidated. So right now at this point, we can kind of presume here, if we look a little closer, that there is some high leverage shorts at about 71,000 that are stressing out right now. Okay, I get it. I would be too. You don't really want to short Bitcoin when it's this high, but also, do you want to take longs this at the top too, right? It's a difficult thing. I totally get it. But the simple way to understand it is that there's a lot above and below the price action, so that really just tells us that the price is kind of range bound. It has been for some time, and until we break that range, these levels of liquidation are going to continue to form. Having said that, though, we can see heaviest concentration at about 72,300. Above and beyond that 71,000 mark. Okay. Below us, the same as per usual. We talked about this previously. 65 to 67,000 is that little range there just below the price action. A bit of a gap at 64K, but generally speaking, that's slowly dissipating though, which is good. Over the because it basically just implies that longs are taking profit and essentially just in a there's better positions here for longs versus shorts. In other words, longs are more profitable than shorts at this point. For obvious reasons, the price is moving up, right? Big surprise. Okay, anyways, let's look at the daily time frame, kind of work our way down. And as per usual, I get the question, how often, when do you look at the macro? When do you look at the weekly and the monthly? Generally, I do that at the beginning of the week, which we covered that here recently. So right at this point, the easy way to understand it is that the daily time frame is still looking bullish. We've discussed this previously, but we're ascending positively with this trend line here, still above the 20-day SMA. Until we break below that, we have no reason to consider Bitcoin to be moderately bearish. Okay, we still have to presume it's going to go up until it doesn't, right? At this point, though, we're still bullish on every other circumstance too. Stochastic swinging up. I mentioned that's always historically a pretty positive sign. Last few times we've seen a stochastic swing to the upside, price action shoots up. Okay, so again, there's correlations here with that overextension and just a potential breakout to the upside. And right now we can see MACD is trying to converge too. So at this point, we can see roughly 70,300. That's like a daily candlestick closure for the most recent high. That's an area we want to kind of pay attention to. If we can close above that, a solid chance we're going to see a retest that 74,000 mark. Okay, so we're on the edge of greatness here, but we just kind of got to be patient and not get too ahead of ourselves. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, let's quickly clarify this. When we looked at this earlier, we were above all moving averages. We still are. And if you saw my YouTube short or my TikTok short, I provide those on Twitter as well. I talked about getting a candlestick closure at 68,600 today and how important it was. Well, sorry, today being yesterday. Effectively, yesterday closed above that level, and we were in good shape there to see that price action bottom out. So that lower level there, essentially we got a nice little breakout here with the price action breaking down, lower lows and lower highs, and essentially hit that support and took off. Okay, so again, this isn't all happening just because that one thing. That's not the reason for it. There's a lot of other contributing factors, but at this point, we can generally see that closing above that 0.5 fib level was important for us, and that allowed for us to continue to leg up. We do take a look here at the RSI. We can see we're over 50 on the RSI, stochastic swinging up. Money flow index is coming up. These are all positive contributing factors. Again, we've had these factors for a while, and there's no reason to try to short into it because, again, you see this volume, folks? That's a lot of volume, okay? So these candles are going to be more likely to break to the upside than to pull back because we have such strength in volume. Now you could probably argue and say, oh, last time we had the same thing too. Why didn't that work out? What was the first attempt? You have the same amount of volume coming into a second attempt, it's going to probably break and continue to excel. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a run towards 71,000 today. Again, these are all bullish contributing factors on the daily and the 4-hour time frame, letting us know that the macro is pretty solid. This is, again, is the hourly, of course, but generally speaking, these are all extremely beneficial. The last thing we want to look at here really quick is the CRTD sequential. Actually, no, we don't need to look at that because that's pretty self-explanatory. But we do want to look at Ichimoku Cloud. And this kind of tells us here quite a lot. We've got the conversion line breaking above the baseline. Lagging span is now free and clear of the price action if you exclude the candle wick. And we can also see we're above the price, the cloud itself, which is consolidating at 0.618. Okay? So again, all good stuff here. This is a very solid little support range that we saw holding the price action in place. So there's really no reason to consider a short position right now. If you do, of course, this double top could potentially play out. But with all this, amplitude and contributing factors that we're seeing right now, it doesn't make a ton of sense to try to short into this, even though it could very well pull back because, again, it's psychological support at 70,000. You got to recognize round numbers, big round numbers, have a propensity of being key level supports and resistances, just because people kind of think that that's like an astounding number. A lot of people will consider shorting because they've had their mind made up for a long time that they're going to short 70,000, right? It's just kind of one of those things. So I wouldn't be surprised we see a little bit more resistance than we should, but most every single indicator that we're seeing right now is exuding extremely bullish behavior, okay? So again, that's typical. It's typical for Bitcoin to show extremely bullish behavior and then instantly pull the rug out from underneath us. So please be mindful, adjust your stop loss higher, and ensure that you're securing profits whenever you can. We have a long from a few days ago, I think it was roughly a week ago, at about 67,000. We kind of bought one of those recent dips, and essentially the price continued higher. But again, that was mainly because we had a falling wedge pattern that inevitably broke to the upside. Okay. So again, there's a lot of little strategies, of course, but at this point, I would say be very careful when you take a trade with Bitcoin, but it does, according to the charts here and everything we see so far, there's a stronger likelihood of the price action going further up. What we could see here too, keep this in mind, this is just a quick little observation on the 4-hour time frame. We had a recent high at about 69,000. What is that? 69,600? Yep. So again, when you got a candlestick closure like that, the likelihood of the price coming back down to bounce off that is higher. Okay? So we do see a pullback. It may pull back to the local high here from yesterday when we saw the price action turn around at about 69,600. Again, candlestick closures can be very helpful, folks, if you use them. It's kind of, I'll keep that on the charts. I'll post our playout chart here as well on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, so you kind of understand, what they look like and effectively what I'm looking for confirmation. And right now at this point here, Bitcoin is confirming on pretty much every instance of the time frames that we've looked at here. So there's really no reason why the price would drop here from moving forward, unless there's a fundamental catalyst or that $70,000 resistance holds super strong. It does look like we're trying to break though. Okay, anyways, thanks again for watching. Last but not least, too, of course, folks, if you are part of my Bitunix crew here, if you want to maybe try out a new exchange, it's extremely beneficial. They got some awesome deposit rewards. Just go ahead and use the link to register, and you get a chance to get these futures bonus. If you've already used my link in the past to register and you were already with Bitunix, we previously used BitGet before they went KYC, I would recommend just jumping in there and getting this taken care of. It's easy bonus. It doesn't hurt at all. And it's certainly a nice little incentive there. Hope you all have a good rest of your day either way. Thanks so much for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.